scriptures that presents a challenge to our ability to conduct deductive reasoning. Romans chapter 6, verse 14. For sin should not have dominion over you, but you are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Now, what this does, this brings us to the question concerning what the Apostle Paul here is describing as the law. The law just simply means that there are certain things that you cannot do, and there are certain things that you cannot do. But grace presents forgiveness for our discretions under the law. So, does that give a person a license to conduct their life in any way they so desire, and then just say, well, God, I'm good to go because I'm under grace? Well, I find that to be a little difficult to just accept at face value. But this was the challenge that the Apostle Paul dealt with way back during the early days of the church, because he was the one who accepted the provision of grace, even though that the vision, you remember the vision that Peter got when the sheet came down from heaven, and the Spirit of God says, Peter, rise, slay and eat. And Peter said, no, I've never partaken of anything common or unclean. And the Spirit of God said, what I have cleansed, that no man call common. And then, basically, this opened up the door for the gospel to be brought to the Gentiles, preaching this message of God's forgiveness and God's grace. Now, I'm a person who believes very much in the grace of God. I am a person who very much needs the grace of God. But then again, it's hard for me just to accept the fact that there are no consequences for sin, and that no matter what you do, you're under grace, and the doors of heaven are open wide for you to just march on in. No, I don't accept that. So I found a scripture in Colossians chapter 3, verse number 5. There's one word that just stood out to me. The word was mortify. The Apostle Paul says, therefore, mortify your members. Mortify simply means to deaden, to subdue, to discipline. That word, discipline. And another word to go with it is the word crucify. In other words, dealing with sin. And I believe that's the key that we need to take a look at as we go through the scriptures. And this broadcast this week, we'll deal with this issue of sin, grace, and salvation. I think it's very, very important that we explore this and find what Scripture is telling us. This is Pastor Jack King with the Gospel on the radio broadcast.